I broke the sales record in the first week.
At what point did you decide that it was time to move on and do something different?
One of my goals in the next 3 years is to build out a commercial department.
For the first time ever in my life, I was going to put my spiritual disciplines and my spiritual growth.
If I don't know something, I want to go hire it.
That's great, man. All right, well, kick us off. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Serial Entrepreneur. I've got a young man by the name of Caleb Greenlight Insurance.
What's up, Jason?
What's up, man? Nice to meet you.
Great to meet you as well, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. So tell me, how did you and Cameron meet?
Me and Cameron, I actually just saw him on social media one day. He was running some good ads, and I needed a social media manager, because of how we're growing at Greenlight, and I'm just kind of sick of posting on social media myself. So I'm like, I need to contract this out, and he does a good job for us.
Nice. Okay. And then, so you guys recorded a podcast previously?
We did.
Yeah?
It did really well. I think it's got like 20,000 views or something.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
We did good. We had a good conversation.
Yeah, Cameron's a fiery guy, and he knows what he's doing. So
he's a beast, bro.
Well, I want to learn more about Caleb Harris, man. So tell me a little bit. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Were you born and raised here?
I'm actually from Dallas, Texas. My entire family lives in Dallas, Texas, pretty much. I moved to Southern Indiana when I was about 2 or 3 years old. So we're from Dallas. My dad moved here for work and church. We know a bunch of people around this area. And I've grown up here pretty much all my life around this area. Went to college at IUS, played some tennis. I was a competitive athlete, basketball, baseball. Ended up finding tennis when I was 16 years old.
Okay. So that's picking it up late.
Very late.
Yeah.
A lot of tennis players that play at a high level, they pick it up 3, 4, 5 years old.
Yeah.
But I was blessed enough, I worked hard, was able to play tennis there for a couple years. And I'm proud to say I am a college dropout. There's good and bad with that. But I figured out what I wanted to do at a very early age, which was very important. I had a good influence from my dad. My dad has been in tech sales for the last 20 years.
Okay.
Worked for various software companies. So my dad completed 1 or 2 years of college, and he figured out that sales was the best industry at that point if he wanted to make a lot of money. Yeah. So I've always had that influence, and I figured out that I wanted to be in sales and possibly be an entrepreneur. Yeah. So I did 2 years of college, and I found out really quickly from a vacation trip, I met someone on a golf course, and he was a $100 million guy. Wow. Really random. We got paired up with him.
Wow.
And he's like, Caleb, if you want to make money, if you want to be in a good industry, you need to be in insurance.
Okay.
So
when was this? Tell me, when was this?
I believe I was 20 years old.
Okay.
I was in my sophomore year of college.
Sophomore year in college, you meet someone very influential on a golf course. Totally random, paired up with. How old are you now?
I'm 23.
23. So not that long ago.
Not very long ago at all.
3 years ago.
This happened very quickly.
Okay. Nice.
Yes,
well, go ahead. I didn't mean to.
No, of course. So I met him. He said, you need to get in the insurance industry. It's a great industry, help a lot of people, and you can make a great living for your family. So that's exactly what I did. I started applying on Indeed for every single insurance job out there.
Yeah.
And I got a call from a life insurance company, a smaller company.
Of course you did. Life insurance companies.
And it was one of those companies where it was door-to-door sales.
Okay.
So it was a character building experience is what I would say.
Yeah.
We would travel to states, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee, 4 or 5 hours away, and we would sell whole life insurance policies to older folks.
Okay.
Right. So it was very nitty gritty. You could make some money, but I found out really quickly that the lifestyle was not there.
So target demographic was older population. Define older. What age? What were you thinking?
I would say on average.
I'm 40. Let's see. I'll be 47.
You're in your prime, man.
Okay,
what are you talking about?
Are you selling to me, or are you selling to people older than me?
I would say on average, 55 to 70.
55 to 70. Okay. Yep. Whole life insurance policies. Yep. Are these like final expense?
This is all final expense.
Final expense.
You're exactly right.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. All right. So door-to-door sales.
And at that point, I had no idea about the industry. I was just getting into it. And when I applied for the job, the guy sold me on, hey, if you want to make 100, 150K a year, come work for us if you can work hard. I'm like, that sounds good to me. Let's do it. Let's try it.
Yeah.
So I did make some money, but like I said, the traveling, going to very remote places, it was not what what I was expecting at all.
So were you going specifically in senior living communities, like where there was only, that was
Exactly right.
That was gonna be my next question is like, well, how do you know, like if you knock on the door and some young person comes to the door, what do you do?
Well, the company that I worked for, that's exactly who they marketed to. They would send out these lists of leads, these campaigns to very specific demographics.
Gotcha.
So when we'd get the leads, we'd have the address, their contact information, and we'd show up and knock on the door, and we'd have a script, and we'd sit down with them and then give them final expense policies.
Man, that's a tough sell.
But it developed some very, very important communication skills.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, for sure. I mean, you're talking about life insurance in one, especially whole life insurance, which can be a very difficult sell. Sure. And then you're talking about going door to door, knocking on the door, and totally unexpected, you show up at someone's front door. That generally does not go over very well. So,
not at all.
I mean, what'd you find? How many doors did you have to knock on, or how many people did you have to meet with to get a close?
That's a great question. It depends on who was home. Okay. If I could get in front of someone at the door, I would say every 5 doors I got to sit down with someone and actually make my pitch of value, what I was proposing to them. So every 10 clients I sat down with, probably I could close one of them. Yeah. But like anything, like in sales, like in business, like in life, everything is a numbers game. The more times you do it, the better chance you have to succeed.
All right. So you get your start in the industry, in the insurance world, selling final expense policies, door to door.
Yeah.
So where'd you go from there?
Guess how long I was there for?
I mean, if you lasted more than 3 months, I'd be surprised.
You're hit the nail right on the head.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 months. I was there for 3 months. And which was cool is I broke the sales record in the first week. We had like a 7-day period, and I did the most in 7 days, which was cool. It was a confidence builder. I'm like, okay, I can sell. I have the skill set.
Yeah.
But the Lord worked out an opportunity where a family friend of mine contacted me.
Okay.
He was in the property and casualty insurance space.
All right.
This is what we do right now, home, auto, business insurance.
Okay.
And it was a captive insurance carrier. He contacted me, say, hey, Caleb, I think you'd be really good at this. There's an opportunity. You should interview for the job. That's exactly what I did.
So define for our listeners, you mentioned captive.
Sure.
Captive agent versus independent agent, right? Define the difference.
So everyone knows the State Farms, the Allstates of the world. That's an example of a captive insurance company. Okay. They have one product to sell. If they don't have any other solutions, too bad. Yeah. An independent insurance agency is contracted with multiple carriers.
Gotcha. So as far as, so you were getting recruited by a captive carrier.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And did you end up taking that position?
I did. Okay. I did. Yeah. So I was at that company for just under 2 years. And I was blessed enough. I was the number 2 salesperson in the state out of about 500. Okay. I did about $2 million in premium that first year.
And this is home, auto, and business insurance. Those three lines. Okay. Yes, sir. Cool. So how'd you like the PNC side versus the life side? I mean, obviously, sounds like you stuck with it longer. You weren't. I assume the model was not going door to door in this. This. How did you find new customers?
I found that the property and casualty side, at least for me, I don't think I was in the life insurance space long enough to really dig deeper into it. But for me, I found that the property and casualty space was definitely more relationship built selling. But at the end of the day, insurance is a supply and demand game, which is what I like. I knew that everyone had to have it. I just had to find the customers. Right. So what I did was, there's a very basic model in the insurance space, property and casualty. You go to a mortgage broker, you go to a car dealership, and you market to them. If the customers in front of them that are buying their product need insurance, or they cannot get a hold of their agent, or the price that their agent gave them was too expensive, call me and I'll give you a referral. Right?
Gotcha.
And that's exactly what I did. But the only difference is I did it at a way higher level. I went everywhere. So the company I was with, we were licensed in 2 states, Indiana and Ohio. Okay. So I drove 3, 4, 5 hours at a time to different cities, and I would just market to everyone. Right. So And I just got a lot more at-bats at that point. I got a lot more leads, and I was able to build up the system a lot quicker than most agents are.
Okay. So you're working for this captive agency. And at what point did you decide that it was time to move on and do something different?
Well, that's a great question because innately all my life, I've always wanted to own my own business.
Okay.
I wasn't 100% sure till I got into the sales industry. The idea of being an entrepreneur is so enticing, right? If God's made you a certain way, right? If you're hungry, if you're ambitious, if you want more. Being an entrepreneur, I would argue, is one of the most creative forms of doing something, right? It puts you in positions to be creative, to perform, because it's all up to you, right? So when I got into the captive insurance space, I figured out that I could do this. I could make money. So once I found an industry that I could make money in, I decided just to do it. I was there for about just under 2 years. And at the end of the day, I said, it'll never get easier than right now. I'm 22 years old. In the future, I'm going to have a family. I'm going to have kids. If I wait, maybe learn a little bit more at this company, I could do it down the road, but it'll probably be a lot harder. The risk is very low right now, so we should just do it.
Yeah.
That's really the main reason why I decided to start my own company.
Okay. So you started Greenlight Insurance.
Yeah.
Okay. And this was when?
This was about 7 months ago.
7 months ago.
7 months ago in May.
Okay.
Yes.
So
very new company.
So May of this year?
Of this year,
May
2025.
Of this year. Okay. Yeah. So May of this year, you start Greenlight Insurance, and you're doing same P&C.
Yep. Same P&C
and business.
Yes, sir.
What about life insurance? You doing life?
We don't do any life insurance right now. We found our niche and we're really good at what we do.
Okay.
I would love to get into life insurance a little bit further down the road, but I want to master what we're good at first.
Yeah.
And then potentially add another line of business.
So tell me a little bit about that process. How do you go from being a captive agent, working for a captive agency, to starting your own independent agency?
The hardest part is the licensing, getting all the licensing under control, because once you have, there's state license, there's individual's license, and then there's agency licenses.
Yep.
So once you get all of that approved, which takes weeks and months sometimes, then you have to go after the right carriers. So when we talk about contracts or appointments with carriers, so as an independent insurance agent, you have the right to be contracted with multiple carriers. Right. But it's about finding the right ones that suit your line of business. Right. So you have to actually go out to those carriers, reach out and say, hey, I'm in this space now. I would love to represent your product. Yep. Here's my business plan, et cetera, et cetera. And then they determine if they're going to give you an appointment or not.
So how did you find the carriers that you felt would be best suited to meet the needs of your clients or your future clients when there's hundreds of carriers out there, and let's be honest, like in the P&C world, I mean, I've owned insurance my whole life, but like you said, I mean, the difference with P&C insurance, property and casualty insurance versus life insurance is you've got to have it. If you've got a mortgage on your home, well, you got to have homeowners insurance. And if you're driving a vehicle, you need to have auto insurance. So it is an insurance that you have to have, which again is, life insurance is optional. You don't have to have life insurance, right? But again, when you look at I've worked with an independent agent on the P&C side for years, and generally it always comes down to cost. It always comes down to cost, and some of these carriers experience rate increases, and some of them don't. So, I mean, is that primarily what you were focused on, or how did you find the right carriers?
I always say this, in the insurance industry, like you said, insurance, everyone's got to have it, whether they like it or not. So to me, I believe in my experience that clients care about two things when it comes to insurance: how much money they're saving, and if their agent answers the phone. Okay. In all reality, those are the two most important things that matter to a customer when it comes to their insurance. If they like their agent, that's always a plus, right? We want to provide the best customer experience. But when it comes to selecting the right carriers, that's a great question. a lot of it is just trial and error. You know, you might get 2 or 3 appointments with certain carriers. You might try them out and figure out that you don't like them or it doesn't fit your current clientele.
Yeah.
You know, just like anything, it's a numbers game and you have to just get in the fire and figure it out. But we were lucky enough to partner with, like, it's somewhat of an insurance mitigator. So this business has a relationship with all the nationwide carriers.
Is that like an IMO? Or
Kind of
like an IMO
yeah,
on the
a
life
little
insurance
bit.
side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Very similar. So I had a relationship with one of the representatives there. We pay them like a monthly fee to get us in front of multiple carriers, preferred carriers. And, you know, we build the relationship with them and they try to, depending on what type of business that you're doing, they try to get you in front of the best suited carriers for you.
Okay. So now you got your own agency. You're no longer captive.
Yeah.
You're spreading your wings a little bit as far as your entrepreneurial spirit. So how did that change your approach as far as new business acquisition, you know, finding new customers? How did you pivot? How did you change? What's that been like for you?
The wonderful thing about the opportunity I had at Farm Bureau is I had a business plan before I went independent. I knew exactly what I was going to do, but just at a higher level, right? And one of the main reasons why I left my company was we were limited to the number of states that we wanted to write in. Right. So for us, we're big thinkers, right? We want to be in all 50 states.
Okay.
We're currently a national company. We write in Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, and Tennessee, and we just got approved in Texas.
Okay.
Right. So we're hiring all over the states, and we're writing business in multiple states right now. So repeat your question. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I was just asking as far as, you know, the customer acquisition side.
Yeah.
You know, what's changed for you from being independent, you know, from being captive to now independent?
Yeah.
What's your customer acquisition strategy?
It's really the same. Just our focus is hiring the best talent possible and just doing it at a bigger scale.
How's that going for you as far as?
It's going really well. The hardest part that we're finding is getting carriers to let us write in different states because they're not used to a company being so new that's writing a lot of business, wanting to be in multiple states at once. They want you to, I guess, prove yourself over about a 3-year period. Something called a loss ratio. So the number of business that you write, and if a customer makes a claim, how much premium is the carrier collecting versus how much they're losing when they pay out a loss.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's the hardest part I'm finding right now is just really letting the carriers let us write in different states. So it's kind of a patient game.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't really. I mean, I've known people who have been dropped from their insurance because they've had too many claims and they're not. You know, they're not a profitable customer for the insurance company, so they'll drop you. So I guess that makes sense. And again, without having the reputation just yet, because you're a fairly new company, I could see where that would be a challenge.
Yeah.
So I want to back up a little bit because you've said a few things along the way that I want to ask you about. So you mentioned that your dad came here. He came here for work, but then also he was doing something at the church. What's your dad's background? Did you?
No, we have a work that we support here. It's called Voice of God Recordings, and they're based in Jeffersonville, Indiana. And he doesn't do anything at the church personally, but we definitely support it. And a lot of friends and family that we knew lived here. So that's kind of why we made the decision, or he made the decision to bring us to Jeffersonville, Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned a little bit, you've mentioned God a few different times. So tell me a little bit about your personal journey, your personal faith story. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, of course, man. So I was blessed. Unlike a lot of people, I was raised in a Christian home.
Okay.
I was brought up in the Word, and it's the most important thing in my life. We talk about business, we talk about money, we talk about objective objects that we want as humans. But at the end of the day, to me, it's not even close to the most important thing. My goal in life is to, one, reach my full potential, but to be in God's perfect will while I'm trying to do that. Everything I do should be in His name and for His glory and honor, not mine. And I think if a lot of people, if we can have that mindset, there's so many doors that can open up without you knowing. I never thought I'd be in this position. I've built $1 million company in 6 months, which is really cool. I never thought that would happen. It's neat, and it humbles me to talk about it. And that's all him. It's nothing that I've done. He's just opened the right doors to put me in this position. And just to be able to talk about it with you on this podcast, it excites me. You know,
well, I wouldn't say you haven't done anything. You've been obedient.
Sure.
You've been obedient to what God's called you to do. And I'd say, you know, based on what I've learned so far, you've taken some bold steps of faith along the way, not knowing, you know, what the outcome was going to be. And that's what God wants from us, right? I mean, he wants us to be bold and to step out in faith and to trust him and his plans. And, you know, his plans are so much bigger and better than anything we could come up with on our own.
Absolutely.
So that's really cool, man. So you were raised in a Christian home. At what point did you commit your life to Christ and get baptized? And
that's a great question. So I was baptized at a very young age, but you know, when you're 5, 6, 7 years old, you don't really know what's going on. Yeah. Right. So I was rebaptized when I was 14 years old. I went to a nice youth camp, a church camp, and I rededicated my life to the Lord. But as we all know, the teenage years, the college years are really tough. They're filled with a lot of battles. Satan throws stuff at you. So when I was in college, I did the party scene. I was struggling a little bit, but in my heart, every time I did something wrong, it throbbed. You know, I always longed since I was a little kid. I wanted to do the right thing, and I wanted to please God and my parents. Honestly, I wanted to do the right thing. So when I was, I think, the beginning of my sophomore year, I believe I was 19 years old, I made the decision, I'm done. I don't care if whatever it costs. I'll be lonely. I won't have friends. I'll forsake everything. I don't care. I know what I want, and I know, first of all, above anything, I want to please God. Yeah. And it'll all work out from there. Yeah. So I did go through a period there where it was interesting. When you make certain decisions, you lose a lot of people. You shed a lot of things. So I went through a time there for about a year or two, where I didn't have any friends. You know, I've always had a lot of friends growing up, you know, as any young boy, anyone would. And it was a weird change. You know, I love people. I love being around people. So that was an interesting change, but it was well worth it because, like I said, the Lord opened up the right doors. When you make the decision, you step out in faith and you sacrifice the right things. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I you know, just sitting here talking to you, I'm really impressed. I mean, seriously, you, like 23 years old. I got married at 23.
I'm still looking for that one.
Well, yeah, there's no rush there, but yeah, it's really cool, man. Hearing your story and your journey. And again, I know you've got kind of a young career. You know, you're 23 years old, just really getting started with your own business. But what would you say so far in the last 3 years has been your biggest challenge, and how did you overcome it?
My biggest challenge,
and how did you learn from it?
Right, to stop leaning on my own understanding, to just take your hands off of things and know that He's got it. You have got to put the work in. God just doesn't do things magically. Like you said, you have to step out in faith. You have to step out in action and encourage, right? You have to step out on the battlefield. But then again, when you're in war, when you're stepping out into the fire, you have to know that He has His hands on it. And you have to get quiet. You have to listen for that still small voice, for His leading and guidance. And I think that if you talk to most people, that might be a very common battle, is just really getting ourselves out of the way, you know, and let Him work, stepping out in faith. Yeah.
Or is that, I mean, that's great. I mean, that's one of the things that, you know, that I try to do on a fairly regular basis, is just to sit quietly. I'm a morning guy. I'm a morning guy. Yeah. I mean, it's not uncommon for me to get up between 4:30 and 5 o'clock in the morning.
I love that. I don't mean to interrupt, but I think one of the most important things for any entrepreneur or any person is to be able to get up early. I struggle with it. I love being up at 5 a.m., but it's such a tug of war.
Well, it starts the night before. It starts the night before.
Amen to that. Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're going to get up at 4:30 or 5 a.m., you better be in bed by, probably 10:30 at the latest if you're going to successfully.
I need like 9 or 9:30, man. Like I need to be asleep.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly there's nights where I'm in bed at 9 p.m. But that's one of the things that I've really tried to do. I've not talked a lot about myself on this particular in this particular session, but having multiple businesses and multiple things going on. Just to sit quietly and listen to that prompting of the Spirit. I mean, the thing that's so cool is we've, as followers of Christ, we've got the Holy Spirit living inside of our hearts that's like active and just wants to do amazing things in and through us. But if we don't quiet ourselves long enough to actually like just listen to what He's wanting to do in and through us, then we're going to miss it. We're going to blow through the day, and we're going to get to the end of the day. We're going to be exhausted, and we're going to think back about like, man, what did I do today? What did I do today? Right. So I've just found that, if I can start my day, and I'm a big fitness guy too. I love fitness, but I made a commitment last year that for the first time ever in my life, I was going to put my spiritual disciplines and my spiritual growth ahead of my physical fitness. Sure. And that was a big step for me. I know it sounds a little silly, but I've always been wake up, go for a run, do a workout, first thing in the morning. And I've had to kind of reprioritize some things in my life to get this done. But man, it's been life-changing for me just over the last year or so, just to get up early, to spend some time in the Word, to sit quietly and to listen to how God wants to work, in and through me. So that's really cool. So tell us a little bit. So what you're in massive growth mode. Yeah. You're in massive growth mode. You're expanding in multiple states. You're recruiting. You're hiring. What does someone are you finding on the recruiting side? Are you looking for people that are just fresh starters like you, fresh out of college? I mean, what are you finding has been the best fit for you as far as growing your team and putting the right team members in place?
It can be anyone, really. It just depends what their motive and objective is. If they're a motivated individual, obviously we all love people with experience that's been in that industry that knows how certain things go. But I love nothing more than someone that's fresh, someone that's eager to learn, that wants to make a good living, that wants to do good work, right? So it really can be anyone. It just depends on their mindset. That's the most important thing to me.
And so you're finding these people through, you said Indeed or?
Instagram is a big one. Instagram. LinkedIn is a great place. I actually was asking a couple of my colleagues, like, man, where do you find good producers? Where do you find good people? It's like, LinkedIn is great. Okay. Because everyone's already on there talking about work and business, et cetera, et cetera. So I got in there and I paid a little bit of money and I got I think 20 or 30 applicants on one job, which was very cool. That was the first time I've used LinkedIn for hiring. Okay. Cool.
So how many people you have on your team now?
We have 3 salespeople. We're about to onboard 2 more. I have 1 marketing representative and 1 intern. Okay.
So your intern, are they kind of serving as like your back office or like?
She's like my personal assistant.
Okay.
Calendar, if I need her to do a quote for me when I can't, she'll do it. She's amazing. Just taking the little tedious work off my schedule so I can get quiet.
Well, good for you that you have an assistant already at 23 years old. I am actually in the process now of trying to find that, that person for me. So that's cool that you're doing that. And actually, it's funny. I signed up for some coaching. I've had coaching at different stages throughout my life and career. But I recently signed up with a strategic coach, which is one of the largest organizations as far as coaching entrepreneurs. And it was funny that in the conversation, they're like, the first thing we're going to tell you to do is to hire an assistant. Yeah. That's like one of the first things they're going to tell you to do. So, I'm in the process of kind of looking for that. But, so you've had explosive growth. You're growing your team. So what's next? You just gonna what's next for you?
It's just it's hiring as many people as I can. We have a really good business model. It's just a matter of playing the numbers game with hires and hiring all over the country, and getting more deeper into the commercial side. Probably, we're doing a lot of home and auto insurance. We're pushing a lot of volume there, which is great. It works. It's very profitable as well. But I want to work more personally with business owners. With people like yourself. People with bigger businesses. A little bit more complex insurance solutions. That's a goal of mine in probably the next 5 years.
Okay. So as far as, what's your approach, or the people that you've hired thus far, have they been from the industry, or are they fresh start, got to get their licenses? What are you finding is you're attracting the most so far?
There's a mixture of both. There's a couple people that are already had their licenses, but most of the time it's a lot of younger guys that want to change in the industry.
Yeah, looking for a new start.
Yeah, looking for a new start, looking for something greater, looking for more upside. And they've been in sales in the past, or they've been in a similar industry where it could translate really well. So yeah, a lot of new people to the industry, which can be a good and bad thing. But
yeah.
One of my goals in the next 3 years is to build out a commercial department, not only to get into that line of business myself, but hire it out. I'm one of those guys where I'm very aware if I don't know something, I want to go hire it. I want to go hire someone that knows it way better than me, that's done it for longer. So that's one of my goals right now, is to hire a really good commercial producer, pay them as much money as they want to, and just go hunt, go get new accounts, and build out a whole department and team.
That's great, man. So you're already surrounding yourself with people that can get stuff done.
Try to, man.
Have you ever read the book Who Not How?
I haven't. No.
That's one you got to check out.
Okay.
So Who Not How? Who Not How? Yeah, and it talks about, again, and kudos to you, man, at 23 years old to have already be picking up on these things. But in order to be able to scale and to scale quickly, it's going to require that you put other who's around you in your life and in your business to help you get there. Because, at 23 years old, you're not going to be expected to know everything.
Absolutely not. I'm far from it, brother. I'm far from it. Yeah.
So learning from others, and and I will say, just from personal experience, and it sounds like you're very open-minded. You're very, very humble, and those are two things that will carry you very, very far, because, just having an open mind. I mean, if I look at, my businesses that I have right now that are operational, they all started with just having an open mind and having a conversation with someone.
I love that.
About a particular service or product that existed that I didn't even know existed. Right. And, I think about, like, there's some people that are out there that are just so close-minded. It's just like, oh, that's a scam, or everyone's always so negative. And, not everyone, but vast majority of people that don't enjoy what they do, they're generally grumpy, and they're closed-minded. They don't want to learn about new opportunities.
Absolutely.
And so, just having an open mind, meeting and networking with a lot of different people. We didn't talk about this, but I'm actually licensed. I have my health insurance, life insurance.
Are you really?
P&C. I've got
We're practically family.
I've got them all, and I've got them all. I've had them all. Actually, my first job ever out of college is funny. You talked about life insurance. My first ever job out of college. As I got recruited by Northwestern Mutual.
Yeah, I know them.
To be a financial advisor, but really at that time, and their motto was to teach me how to sell life insurance.
Fancy word for life insurance salesperson,
so
financial advisor.
That's what I was doing at your age. I was selling life insurance for Northwestern Mutual, and was kind of getting my start in the insurance world. I ended up leaving the industry for a little while, and then got back into it. Gosh, probably, I don't even know how long ago it was, maybe 12 years ago, 13 years ago, something like that. I went back and got my licenses again. But yeah, it's a great industry. There's tons of opportunities.
So you're in the life insurance space right now?
I am, yeah.
Amazing, man.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I have, like I said, and that's really, I carry life health, P&C. But as far as the life insurance, that's really, so I've got a company called Light Path Wealth Advisors, and excuse me. One of the things that, our primary thing that we do is we meet with folks and we help them kind of plan for that transition from their working years into retirement. And I've got a business partner that I work very closely with, who's a registered investment advisor, but my specialty has always been more on the insurance side of the house.
Sure.
And we structure, and I'm a big believer in permanent life insurance. Mm-hmm. So I've got several policies and use them to build wealth.
Life insurance, I'll be very honest, I don't know much about it. I've been exposed to it for the last 3 years, but from the things that I have learned, there's so many working parts to a life insurance policy that you can leverage in your favor. You can use most of them as an investment. You can take loans against them. There's certain things that you can do, which is really, really cool to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely encourage you to, as you're looking to expand, to give that a closer look. And
absolutely.
As far as the, it's kind of like anything else. I mean, there's hundreds of carriers out there. There's all different types of policies, whether it's, a whole life policy or an index universal life policy or whatever it is. And, finding good carriers that have quality products. And then also, a lot of people don't know this, but how you structure the policy as an agent can be either in your favor as the agent, or it can be in the favor of the client. And that's one of the things we've really always kind of, prided ourselves on is when we're structuring policies, we're thinking about, what's going to be the most favorable structure for the policy owner, not for me as the agent, as far as, where I'm going to get my, huge upfront commission from the carrier. You still get paid your commissions. It's just spread out over, over a longer period of time, a 5 to 10 year span, instead of all up front in the first year. But yeah, man, it's a great wealth building tool. It's a good foundational piece to have, and especially at your age, and if you're making money, it'd be a great way for you to start, lumping a good chunk of money away that is accessible to you, that you could use for purchasing a home or building your business. But you could literally set yourself up so that you're banking yourself, you're banking your business, you're banking your future financial needs yourself. So there's lots of opportunities there. So I would encourage you to continue learning and expanding in that area.
And you might need to have a conversation about this after, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Take me through it.
Yeah, and actually the guy that you that you met on the way in,
Mm-hmm.
Scott Wilson, he's one of the agents that, has worked with us for years. And, he's, so there's a lot of great, ways that you can, like you said, utilize the life insurance policies. But
I want to go back to what you were talking about just earlier. And thank you for sharing that, by the way.
Yeah.
There's so many things in the insurance space that I want to learn about, and life insurance is one of them. But you talked a little bit about, you touched on people that are negative, people that aren't open-minded, that don't want to learn. They've had certain experiences that's led them to be the type of person that they are. But to that point, I think being an entrepreneur, being a leader in a space, it is your job, it is our job as leaders to get people to be more open-minded, to motivate people, to get them to take the covering off their eyes, to learn something new. I think that's arguably one of the most important traits as a leader, to get people to see a different side of something. Wouldn't you agree?
I would totally agree with you. And again, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm 40, getting ready to be 47 years old on Sunday. And
happy birthday, man.
Thanks, man. And I was always, like you. I mean, I could sell anything. And I'd always worked in kind of like sales roles, and I was self-producing and making things happen and getting paid commissions. But it was really all about personal production. And it's just been recently for me where I've literally tried to transition from being an individual producer to being that leader, to being that entrepreneur that, wants to go out and make a positive impact in the lives of, your team members and the people that you put around you. In my younger years when I was, your age and, even just 5 years ago, I would get frustrated because, I didn't like the fact that, my potential compensation could be impacted negatively by someone else and their lack of production, or someone else's work ethic doesn't necessarily match up with mine. And, so it's really had to be a conscious switch for me in my head to transition from just being a producer, being someone that's working in a particular position, to being that leader,
yeah, absolutely. I think what you're saying is it's a really hard transition to go from salesperson to entrepreneur, because when you're a salesperson, at least in my experience, you have one job. It's to drive revenue. That is what you're here for, is to make sure the lights turn on the next day. And that's the only thing you have to worry about. But for me, when you transition to entrepreneur mode, then you have to worry about everyone else, not just you, right? And there's so many things that we talk about working in the business rather than on the business. And that's one of my biggest struggles right now. We're just getting started, obviously, but I'm trying to train myself very early. It's like, how can we source out as much as we can so I can go work on the big projects that matter, that move the company's vision forward?
That's right.
So I'm absolutely with you there. It's so hard. I'm in the same spot right now. I have my hands on a lot of the tedious day-to-day sales activities when I need to. It's very easy to hire it out and get someone else to do it. Right.
And again, that kind of comes back. I think you'll really enjoy that book, Who Not How. So
yes,
it talks a lot about that, as far as finding those people in your life and in your network and in your environment that can do those things that you don't need to be spending your time or wasting your time doing at this stage. If you're trying to scale this business and 10x this business, you can't be over here in the weeds trying to, figure out why this application is not sent correctly to the carrier or whatever.
You'll drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
And that's when we talk about burnout. That word was always very interesting to me. Like, what does burnout mean? My dad mentioned that word a lot to me. He's like, hey man, be careful, you're going to burn out. And I'm like, what's that even mean? Burnout to me is when you keep doing the same thing over and over again without the forward movement that you expected, right? So
isn't that also the definition of insanity?
Yeah, burnout, insanity. When we're doing the little tedious activities that we know that we really shouldn't be doing, but we keep doing it anyways. I think that's when burnout occurs.
Yeah. All right. Insanity. So yeah, I mean, that's like, classic definition of insanity. But, all right. So let's wrap up and I want people that are listening, I want people to, know how to find you.
Yeah.
And if they're looking for, it sounds like you're looking to grow your team and,
of course,
and, looking for the right people to bring on the team to kind of help you guys continue to expand and grow. So, let people know where to find you and how to get connected with you.
Absolutely. So 2 options: go to our website. Number 1, letsgogreenlight.com and submit a request form. Option 2 is going on our social media. Just type in Caleb Harris. That's my personal profile, or our business profile, Let's Go Greenlight, and send us a DM. We would love to talk to you for a potential opportunity.
That's great, man. Well, dude, this has been a blast, like getting to catch up with you. As I've already said, I'm incredibly impressed with just how mature you are.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
And congratulations to you as far as, taking that step of faith and starting your own thing. And I mean, shoot, in, 7 months time, you said over $1 million in premium already. So so that's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thanks,
and again,
brother.
thanks for being on.
Yeah, you too, man. Thank you.